Hello to my friends at the WalkAway campaign. I'm very glad to have found this group, which for me has been a great source of healing and a comfort in knowing that I'm not alone when for a long time I felt like I was. We all know the typical reasons for walking away, whether it was being told that you were responsible personally for the deaths of innocent children because you support the Second Amendment, or being called a racist because you don't want open borders and anarchy. We've all been there, and we've all been bullied, and that's why we've walked away. I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about in this video until today, and now that everyone is talking about the crisis at the border, we really need to talk about rape. My walk-away moment began when I was raped in a liberal safe space. It was a party full of drugs and alcohol, and I was taken advantage of when I was passed out in an attic. My so-called friends, all liberals, told me that it wasn't my fault, and of course it wasn't. But they proceeded to try and tighten our social circle as if that was going to keep predators out from parties where everyone is drunk and on drugs. Okay. I realized that things don't work that way, and that what happened to me was not my fault, but I learned that I had to protect myself because if I hadn't been passed out drunk at a party, it never would have happened. You can't tell people not to rape and expect rape to stop. And you can't teach consent at college campuses and expect that people are never going to do evil things. That was the dark lesson that I learned, and that was a big part of what caused me to walk away. When I was still hurting over what happened to me 6 months later, those friends told me they were too busy and could not hold my hand forever over what happened. And my version of asking for their support was maybe an occasional sad moment or a text message. They were there to comfort me when they could play the hero, but when too much time had passed and I was still hurting, they were no longer interested in my pain. To me, this is a greater party in the Democratic Party. They are there with outrage for suffering, for people who are suffering, but they don't take practical action with realistic solutions to help those people. This is hard for me to talk about. All right. Currently, we have a debate over our nation's borders, much of which is media propaganda and attempt to overthrow President Trump. The left would have people think that Trump supporters hate brown people, and that's why we want secure borders. But maybe it's that we love them and want better for them. Going by the logic of the left, they would have us continue to let people make the dangerous journey across the border and just run to a sanctuary city or state. One of the countless problems with that is that people are dying of heat stroke and exhaustion and dehydration at our borders, and people are regularly being raped on the long journey. In 2014, the Huffington Post published an article estimating that 80% of women and girls are raped making the journey illegally over the border. They wrote about this back when they didn't have to worry about an anti-Trump agenda to uphold. You probably won't see them talking about it now because it supports Trump's proposals of securing our border and reforming legal immigration. There are things called rape trees on the border where women's undergarments are hung on trees as a sort of memorial for the violent assault that a woman experienced. Many of these women are actually young girls. They're children. Our current system encourages a dangerous journey where women are sexually assaulted over and over again. The left wants to uphold that current system. The Trump administration wants to reform the system to make legal immigration more efficient and easier. The Trump administration wants to stop women from being raped because they have the wisdom to know that saying rape is wrong is never going to stop it, and predators will always lurk, ready to take advantage of vulnerable women and girls at an unsecure border. I don't know about you, but I can't stand by a system that brutally traumatizes thousands of women and children every year. We need reform at our borders, not anarchy. I have also seen some hateful people on the right saying that women shouldn't cross if they don't want to be raped, and I would like to speak out against that as well. Just because we make choices that have consequences doesn't mean that it was our fault. And the right has been a welcoming and tolerant place for me. I'm still going to call out hate when I see it. For me, I recognize that my choices did lead to what happened to me, but it was still not my fault. Evil actions are always the fault of the evildoer. The wisdom comes when we understand that we have to protect ourselves from evil. Donald Trump has said he wants a border wall with a big golden door for entry. It's a bit of a metaphor, of course, for welcoming good people to our nation and keeping out those who would do harm to both immigrants and natural-born citizens. Whether it be a wall or something else, the fact is we need a solution, and anyone who really takes time to think about it should be able to agree that open borders and ignoring the laws on the books is not a solution. Please petition Congress to reform our immigration laws, and thank you for joining me on my personal journey to walk away. This video wasn't easy to make, but I gave it what I had, and sharing my story will hopefully highlight one specific problem that isn't being talked about enough. Trump did mention it, and of course now the same people that were maybe talking about women being raped at the border years ago are now saying that it's an overblown myth and it's not really happening. There have been Border Patrol agents that give reports of 12-year-old girls carrying Plan B emergency contraceptive because they knew their parents sent it with them, knowing that they would probably be raped and they didn't want them to become pregnant. So I don't see how you can call something overblown when it's going to be with that woman for the rest of their life. They're going to have to heal that, and even when they heal it, it's still going to be there. So I think it's kind of sad that the left will just not even care. They'll just say that we're just making it up when it's really happening. I mean, didn't we just have a Me Too movement? So we need to be able to talk about this without being called racist or bigots. I imagine that I may be preaching to the choir. In closing, God loves every single one of us, and we are all His children, no matter our ethnicity, religion, sexual preference, or political affiliation. God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.